You know, live chat. Go live. Doing lives. And there we go. So have it paused. As almost immediately upon loading up, more planes were spotted from here. That should be the three carriers. They're close enough that I think they will have had to have left the port of Darwin after their repair resupply. Anything showing up for this force to use? What is hanging out at Townsville? Repairing cargo ships. Ooh, cargo ships that are completely repaired. Should probably. Actually, I'm going to have them dock at Madang so I'm in a better position to move these supplies forward. Perhaps to Revolve or Kaving. And in the meantime, I'm preparing this carrier, Indefatigable, with Vedette, to go just on a miscellaneous expedition to see what they can find up here. Maybe get some American planes. Maybe not get some American planes. Hey, you're already here. And as soon as the action manages to slow down, I have here the Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary, 10th edition. If I wish to check for prim and proper I words to name carriers after. Ooh, I went straight to the INs. In and, idiom, illuminate, immesh, impotence, importune. No, I need an IN. Inactive. Where do they start? Impractical, impressionism, or improvise, impulsive, impure. Maybe I'm liking that one, but I should start committing to the. Okay, first IN is the word in. Then we have in dash, dash in, inability. Anyone not have an IN name? Where did they go? There they are. No? I'm confused. Oh, that's how far they have gotten. Invincible, these three are good. What about the ones about to set off? Indefatigable, good. Formidable, illustrious, victorious. These simply will not do. Illustrious, formidable. It's formidable. Eagle? That doesn't begin. That is a name. Ah. Do I reserve these for. Wait, I could have sworn I saw that name before. Illustrious. No. Huh. I'm leaving the dictionary open. These Fulmars are launching against these small dive bomber flights. As soon as I get the chance, I'm going to build up some Hurricanes. Are you equipped with Hurricanes or a couple Fulmars? A couple Fulmars. Which means I'm going to want them at Port Hedland as soon as they are available. And when is this convoy arriving? About 24, about 3 weeks. Should probably not mess with the scroll wheel like that. Singapore is mostly repaired from the start of the war, and I still don't have a repair in my stock of war bonds. I should have a couple, at least one implacable in the works. Oh, yep. Yep, it was sunk from a battleship. It was sunk from a torpedo, converted from a battleship they bought from one of the various countries that made the mistake of buying a battleship from British yards before World War One broke out. My biggest concern right now is that, in a long grand strategy sense, is that the implacable class only has one of them on the slipway being built right now because I burned through most of that just before getting them and bought some battleships that are going to be of questionable value. Chile, that's the one. And need more of these. Oh, they're coming. They're labeled as not being from Timor, but they might be launching strikes pivoting to Timor. How is she doing? She has her hurricanes and things repaired quite quickly. I'm going to take her to Ellis Island. Do I want to grab Guadalcanal on the way? I think I want to scout them and then raid them and then Tuvala. Zigzagging all over the place. And there's a decent chance that I will update those orders to just grab both of them. Hmm. Okay, those carriers are progressing up the coast. Have a little bit of stuff there. I don't want to be sitting here with just my Sunderlands if they should show up with all their bombers. So I'm going to start getting value out of them with a bombing campaign on Saigon. The Sunderlands and things do take a lot of damage early on, but as they rack up damage, the AA becomes less and less intense. Do I want to move a major base to Kaching? It's noticeably further out of the way than most of the other stuff. Task Force 34 at Singapore. Hermes, but it's the cruiser, not the carrier. Now Kaching is repairing those so that I have more pressure to put on whatever I try to attack in that area, because it's not going to have a massed amount of carrier power for probably a few in-game months, because all the carrier power is fighting this theater or on this axis. The resupply from Mosby has almost arrived. Once it has, it's going to be time to take Raval and Kaving. Well, I don't have any of the DEI to need it. I do need supplies to go through it, mostly, to help keep these ports supplied. but most of what they need can be handled by one or two convoys, because I don't have a whole bunch of stuff operating there. And I'm unlikely to have a whole bunch of stuff operating there until I've at least mostly cleared out the DEI, at least the Banda C ports, and probably Darwin. Carriers, did the carriers arrive? Carriers did arrive. I need them resupplied. And I want my cruisers and my carriers in the first force. The destroyers assigned to this screening force. I want to make sure that they can start changing over to Hawker Hurricanes. Actually, it should do... no. Favors to have all of these ready. Alright, that's invincible upgraded to actual fighters that protect things. Given that they're not full Mars, I can run a little loose lighter on them. But everyone is definitely keeping a respectable number. And grab these from the land-based install. Dang it, I wanted to be able to keep their health. And how many is Inconceivable trying to operate? Just 3 sets. That can be handled. The carriers have clearly not decided to push in immediately. How is she? Ah, she's moving faster than I expected. How is Mosby about to be there? Yep, that's a spotter from Nemea, and there's no way for me to go sink something or take it or flip it back from which to take a bunch of American planes. Deliver the rest of your supplies. You should be good. And now I want you raid and raid so they're both level before I waste a bunch of plane health trying to scout them. I think I need a couple more of these on Inconceivable. Yeah. Alright, as soon as those are healed up, they'll be ready to take a fight with the Japanese task force that is clearly sitting. Actually, that looks like it's just south of Timor. What has me scouting them? Not sure. So those have been spotted near Malaya. 3 cruisers. We can deal with that. What are all of these? These are looks like a mixture of swordfish and maybe some other thing. Yeah, just swordfish actually. Yeah. Oh, good view. Yeah, they're just hanging out, waiting for things to show up. Fortunately, nothing is going to show up in the near future. Why are you continually getting closer instead of just launching a recon? defend all of the damage. Okay, these carriers just moseying on up. Recon on Tulagi. Recon on Guadalcanal. Got coastal defenses engaged. Hurricanes. I do have some hurricanes just sitting here. But I won't be needing the hurricanes. So I'll be making sure that my long-range bombers are suited up and ready to reinforce it, or I'll have to sell them later. I do need. I if I don't have a lot, but it feels like I never have enough places to put them. Why did you not just nuke? Okay, enter combat. They should be covered in it. Plenty enough guns to destroy them before they do any torpedo shenanigans. Where have I seen this ship before? Apparently they're sailing around in circles doing air operations. Pause. Okay, do I want to burn the amphibious assaults already, or just say attack, attack, attack? Make sure they don't close to taking damage. Strike launches. Spotter is moving around. Enemy fleet destroyed some of the PT boats, and next these PT boats should go down. And because I have these planes already, PF-11 has engaged the enemy near Catan. Okay, that's also bad. Pause. Planes are airborne. You have a whole bunch of ASW bombers. Unfortunately, these are going to be moving slow. I want you corvettes running back down to Singapore. I want you continuing to defend the place that you live. If they're recovering, the debt is going to go murder a bunch of little boats. Indefatigable is just sitting around. Call all flights. Tulagi still stands. PT boats seem uninterested in doing much of anything. And as long as this is out of shore battery range. Enemy fleet destroyed. That's good. Looks like this is out of shore battery range. I want a turn. Do I have this turn? I think I have this turn. Do I have a power up? No. Yeah, that's good. And now turn out. Wait for the guns to hit the last fleet, the last PT boat, and return her to the mothership. pause and give a new order to hang out a little bit away without doing any raiding. Crap, I think all of the bombers went down, which means we might not be able to trigger those with our fighters. So just in case, I will transfer her down to Fiji, Ellis Island. I'm going up to Ellis, given that I'm pretty sure she can't call the invasion herself in this state, and she needs to head up north anyway. Yep, American convoys are not being attacked at all because apparently these don't have any assets to sink them. I'm going to pull another trick where I have set these two up for invasion, but the prize right now is Rabal. I could feasibly bypass these without issue until, like, what, maybe if they're on the objectives list? Oh, they are on the objectives list, so I would eventually need to invade them. But they have almost no bearing on my ability to destroy the Japanese forces. So I'm not going to slow down my ability to destroy the forces in order to do something that doesn't do anything for me. I want Revolve and Kaving destroyed as soon as possible. And then I can take them. There. They've begun damping. Bologna class, Phosphor class ones. I think these late PT boats are actually not horrible, even though they're still overpriced. Yeah, it's 20 war bonds for something that goes pretty fast but has real short range, and it has torpedoes. There's one that unlocks that has here it is, 2 torpedoes, 2 guns, but comes in a 40 knot version, and that one's almost not bad. These corvettes exist, but I've never seen them move around enough for ASW power. I don't think they'd need any changes to themselves except the ability to stick them in your high strength convoys, and for the submarine warfare to be massively improved in the case in favor of submarines as a thing that sinks convoys and doesn't die whenever confronted. As it stands, just setting up anti-submarine warfare bombers wherever you need to fight submarines does more than enough. Move these back on station. Bring down Saiga. What? So leave one. Oh, there's no aviation fuel here. So I'll just launch some stuff with Balikpapan. Okay, Rabal is damaged. Aircraft near New Britain. I'm loading in on that. Fighters are scrambling. Guns were popping. It is still on the map. Oh, did I catch it? There it is. I can zoom in to see my formation. Zoom out to see there's a red dot. I think it's not interested for some reason. Oh, he's been attacked. Okay. I guess that happens. If I could repair these bombers, she would be able to pull off the synced invasion portion. But as it stands, that's not going to happen. I think Pelagi is the only one with enough. Yeah, Pelagi's just barely under the threshold. So bombers would actually have to hit her to set the chain. So she'll be the start of the chain. I would have loved to still have her planes ready to be doing the chain instead of having to sail past most of the Solomons to do it. Okay, how are you doing over here? These guys are ready to sail off to find those planes. I'm going to launch a raid on Time Warp to see if I can draw out planes to give away positions. Brisbane, we're going to be needing more carriers. She definitely does need a cruiser. And I have two Fiji class, so she'll probably get one or both of those sent to her area, depending on what stuff starts going on. Fighters are scrambling, but there's only one flight of fighters in this whole force. And they're uninterested in taking down the torpedo bombers for some reason. There it goes. There's the fighter. Get him. Got him. I find that number of just one flight so silly. Here we go. Two cruisers. They'll be headed to Tuvalu. Straight there. Gambia and Bermuda. I want them to slow down so I can give them an order to hang out right here before they enter Turabal. Scroll in gently. Sunderlands from Brome are moving. Fighters from Balikpapan are moving. Singapore is spending its avgas on stuff and things. Japan is not going to be worth it because Singapore, I think, will have Saigon eventually. Yeah, that's the best fighter in the entire Fleet Air Arm. Oh, we entered a raid. We're still in a raid pop up. Once this damages them enough. Okay. Victorious, I want scouting missions on both of these places, please. And Illustrious, I want you to launch some bombers onto Kaving because it is still noticeably not leveled. Recon of Rabaul complete. Recon of Kaving complete. Pause that. I'm going to set up more cruisers. Rebuilding. And I'll add a single cargo ship because smaller convoys are more useful per ship than the larger ones. And now it is time to take all of these things. All your base are belong to us now. And Sydney, I'll add another cargo ship to hang out with that one. Looks like they did not find anything there. I'm worried what will happen if I just attack without figuring out what's up. So I have, ooh, this Sunderland's ready. I want this Sunderland on a mission. 3 Sunderlands are ready. I want these Sunderlands on a mission to recon Darwin so that I can grab it if I need to. Timor is launching spotters. Timor is launching fighters. We are launching counterfighters. Oh, this squadron needs, this whole task force needs a name. Martlet, Wildcat, inactive, inactivate, incivility. Ooh, inclemency. I like that one. Enemy aircraft spotted near Timor Sea. Enter the map on that one. I think the US only very recently will have unlocked the Wildcat. Why is everybody standing still? Okay, plenty of aircraft have been spotted. Uh, I'm worried that the formation stuff will cause paralysis. But you guys should still be heading northeast. They're moving real slow to let the escorts catch. Hordes of N and V class. The Free Asia Fleet. Hmm. They're up, spotted near Australia. Somebody keeps claiming to have been finding enemy aircraft in this area. Timor bombers. I'll just assign a couple of these to stay on combat air patrol. Yeah, they're jumping around a bunch. It looks like Darwin might have actually repaired its airfield by now, which will be an impressive amount of time to have held Darwin. Ooh, that's a pretty nice pattern. It's like a peace sign. I did not need to go over that message. There are a lot of planes doing plane things. Darwin has fighters in the air getting attacked by greater numbers of fighters. What are any? These are Timor and Darwin. It looks like we are just fighting Timor and Darwin at the moment. And the full Mars from this base are in the air doing things. Do you have any Sunderlands? No, you don't. Rome, get me some spare Sunderlands building. You know what, that's Operation Spicy. How about, you want this one that's getting the carriers? Is there anyone else bothering to watch? Ooh, that's like double the number of last time. What we need. There. That's technically an I because I need to keep it in theme with the obsession with the letter. So it's technically E Kojiman. Oh, hello. What's a cute little thing like you doing around here? Let me get a wave of triumphant and illustrious. Don't launch those planes. Oh, you took it the permission anyway. But illustrious will start launching waves against this convoy. You're arriving in a few days. Your cruisers are somewhere. They're arriving in many more than a few days. Okay, one issue is that we are currently fighting a lot of things. I want to, but it looks like we're not fighting carriers. So, which of these is most critical for offensive operations? Time War. I'm going to take that so that I can see the carriers coming and have a place to get run to. We have launched the amphibious assault on Tulagi. Illustrious is still launching her planes back and forth on things. I don't want to get too close to them, if at all possible. Aircraft, Time War C. Are they bombers? They are bombers. Let me load in and see what I can do about them. Why are you guys all right here? This seems strange. The ruler class escort carrier, which I think is the really bad flat top. Might need to just build some of those, though I think it's going to be worthwhile to spend the war bonds in other theaters until I can get the Colossus. I thought there were bombers here. Enemy aircraft spotted near Timor. They just keep shooting them down because they have a bunch of carriers with plenty of fighters each. Okay, you have heavy cruisers. No, you don't even have access to heavy cruisers. Victorious, you keep your fighter. Triumphant, I need every flight deck available to bring down this convoy ship instead of convoy ships instead. Do they have enough AA? They have DPAA guns, so I think I need to kill them manually. Or pull back manually to kill them. Somebody's shooting a lot of guns, which I like, except the fact that they have guns too. I don't like it when they have guns too. Get this at minimum speed. Voyager, you are right there. Let's just torpedo, 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 and come in ship mode. Vesper is already dead. I need to, as much as possible, keep them away from the carriers. Formidable, how are you doing? I want you to launch attacks on these. Triumphant, I want you to launch attacks on these. At least these carriers do have a lot of guns attached. Nito, attack those. Activate all your guns. How's it going over here? Voyager, did you actually fire those torpedoes when I told you to? I guess it didn't work out that way. Yeah, this is way too close for comfort. Fortunately, they appear interested in focusing on a lot of very distant ships instead. There's Sydney firing. We'll get torpedoes in the water. This is all free. Illustrious is pulling it on a new angle to get her planes in the air. I just have to hope the other force isn't getting torn to bits. Who just exploded? I think an enemy ship just exploded. Why is Someone from all the way over there have to engage this. Sydney launched torpedoes at her own carrier. Fortunately, friendly fire is off, so it just makes a boom sound. Doesn't do anything else. In the meantime, another destroyer has fallen. And it looks like we survived. And we only lost 2 destroyers and a whole bunch of damage. Okay. And I will re-enable the planes on everybody. Tell it to go through your calculations for forming back up. And 1 cargo ship survived. So let me get somebody with some spare dive bombers to go get that cargo ship to spawn on the other side of the island. Enemy fleet destroyed. We have successfully occupied Tulagi. Now they're going to recover the planes, launch, and as soon as they get to launch them at Guadalcanal, it will trigger the fleet. And then as soon as the fleet lands, they'll turn around. And holding shift, after you do that, come to Port Moresby. Launch our amphibious assault on Guadalcanal. What are these? What? Why are you here? That is a group of planes. Ditch all of these. Make sure you're now all in bomber mode. Okay, that's not happening. Alright, I'll launch these at them. See if any of these ports are ready to fight back. That is bad. That is Japanese Navy, and my best guess as to what it is the 3 carrier force that turned around and wasn't here when we came looking. And my dive bombers are racking up damage in the process. That is a bad angle. What is that? What is that angle? That is Guadalcanal. Oh, it's a shot from Guadalcanal. Okay. I thought that was a carrier angle. Okay, the port is completely destroyed. I'll just watch the ships come in. Okay, and make sure these are all going up speed. Sydney took an impressive amount of damage for being all the way on the far side of everything that was going on. Voyager spawned right next to 3 ships and took no damage the whole time. We successfully occupied Guadalcanal. Raids are landing on Timor. The assault is on cooldown. And for that reason, I will launch the spotter planes there. If the game was multiplayer, there would be a lot of stuff going on. The closest there would be to a challenge to it is who controls the time scaling to what degree, which would mean, and I think there are plenty of easy solutions that slow the game down a bit, but prevent too much abuse. Yep, they're only launching their spotters, so they probably haven't seen these. I'm going to divert you to deliver supplies there. As long as I keep launching only those spotters, we have a battleship here, King the Richelieu, but she can't fight a carrier task force on her own. I'm gonna need these cruisers actually. Uh, Bermuda or Gambia? Gambia, Bermuda, Gambia. Gambia, you are going to be going to Tuvalu. Your new sister is turning back. Yeah, that would be chaos if both players were focusing their build programs in a remotely sensible way. And it become increasingly obvious that land-based bombers are a massive deal. Whoever played Japan would probably have the advantage because if you're able to use Emily's, depending on the starting position, you can just smite any port in the game until the other player sets up extensive fighter defensives. And then it's just a matter of keeping zeros over the target from your closest base. It would be impressive to see. Send her to your fleet? No, your fleet's up heading back northwest instead of. And the threat that I'm moving the cruisers for is heading southeast. The raid on Darwin is successful. I think they're going to want to stop in for a little bit back at Brome. Are their air groups ready enough? I think their air groups are ready enough. There are 3 of them. They have small groups. I think I am going to have to operate the Spicy Fleet out of Moresby. Yeah, I'm going to. That's where she's going. That's where Richelieu will be headed once this fire is put out. Yeah, I don't think it'll. Will it be as necessary? Well, there's Truck. That fleet is likely to head to Truck, and then probably Marianas Philippines, or maybe Marianas Home Islands. I like the sound of Marianas Home Islands at Truck, and that is going to require battleship support. These spotters are looking hungrily for all these convoys, and they're about to find them. I'm going to route you through deliver supplies. Cylon class is now available. What is that? Planes from Darwin? Yep. And once Darwin takes, I think, about 1 more wave of damage, I'm going to try to station them on the east of the Arafura Sea, just in case this does something weird. I don't intend to use them as my main thrust against them because they're slightly light on escort and they're slightly depleted air groups and they're only slightly, but they do have only slightly depleted aviation fuel reserves. I just gotta hope they keep using those. Uh, the enemy has attacked Johnston. Ooh, I'm gonna want to pick that back up. I wonder what they did it with though, because I don't. They don't report anything close enough. Johnston is pretty damaged. It's at 50%, so they have at least 1 carrier in a group operating in this area, which is taking Johnston. And there's a passing chance that they will have left some old spotters there. Yes, the spicy fleet does need to repair a lot of planes. I'm going to try to get them to recall everything because they have a unnecessary strike wave about to go hit AA, and a lot of their flights are right on the edge between alive and not alive. All three of you recalled, disband. Yep, and I want you coming up past the shore and off to the center of this channel. The U.S. fleet is getting killed, most of it. Yeah, they lost midway. They rushed forward, eventually got killed after doing a bunch of damage to stuff, and now the U.S. fleet is rebuilding. They have 3 tugs at Pearl, and that's it. It's hard mode. I think they have 2 tugs. Yep, they have 2 tugs at Nemea. So I know they have at least 4 tugs and probably a half dozen to a dozen destroyers of the Clemson class escorting their convoys. Yeah, U.S. doesn't really start out with much unless you're playing Japan. Johnston Atoll has been occupied. Well, I think everything except the tugs and one gunboat that's no, this gunboat actually transferred down and got killed somewhere. Yeah, I know they have the tugs and some convoys, and they probably, with updated build logic, do have stuff that is actually building. Do I want an advanced shipyard? No, I have plenty of shipyards here. I'm going to Melbourne to queue up an order of cruisers. Fiji. I need these cruisers ready for the extra carrier forces that are showing up, and have a couple battleships in the queue. I'm going to. That's a lot of avgas. Nah. You should be ordered to dock there and just hang out. These spotters are getting very, very close. This fleet is on its way, and we have launched the assault on Rabaul. How damaged is Rabaul? Very damaged. How was Townsville's Air Force doing? We have occupied Rabaul. Rabaul is giving a bunch of war bonds. Oh, I know this bug. It locks up, and I just need to go in and out of combat view, which should clean it up. What do you have? And I want you all in bombers mode, and I want reserves building. I'm gonna sell all you, and then build one fighter flight to hang out here and guard it. Put all these things to bombers. Now bombers. Ooh, ooh! Actually, that is worth a bit of plane health. Anybody have decent health on their planes? That's good enough. That is a lot of war bonds sitting right there. And given that that's there, I'm wondering, is it a better idea to attack, resupply, and then head back instead of heading towards it? You know what? I'm headed to Moresby anyway because it has the aviation fuel and the enhanced shore batteries. I don't want you at Salama because it's just not worth it. I want you delivering exclusively to ports that I'm actually going to use for things. I'll send you here. Ooh, that is a lot of convoys to harvest. Illustrious, you have some bombers, knock out cargo ships. Triumphant, bombers, cargo and ammo ships. I'm gonna need to, yeah. Fort Moresby will have resupply by the time they arrive. Did I even stock these two? I didn't even, I did stock Brome. And Brome, at current speed, it'll be 531 or, but it's only a 5 day difference at current speed. Where am I gonna want, yeah. By the time they get there, there will be other planes there. I think turning back around is a better plan because Rome is closer to where I want them to be operating. And the advantage is, of course, I can pretend your idea was a bad idea if I get unlucky and it goes wrong. That's the Kaving assault there. And when that ops and lands, it will expand this fog of war detection zone even further. And there will be plenty of time to attempt to take out all the convoys that were coming here to resupply the things that just stopped being theirs. Colossus carrier, yes, I like the Colossus. We have launched a second wave on Kaving. Colossus means I can start building up carrier air power over here. They don't actually have dual purpose guns and they have less speed, but it's the ability to get them without having to use up big shipyards and sail them all the way around. We've occupied Kaving. Because we have occupied Kaving right away, I want you to use planes to kill as many of these as possible for war bonds. Because these are just almost free kills. Almost. Almost. And you're headed home, you're headed home, and there's still a fleet out here that I can't quite get this a spot on. And it's concerning to me that it's managed to get this far in without getting hard spotted by anything. Melvin, do you have a carrier or something we're building? No, and I'm at the point where my home shipyards are finally starting to be filled up at most times. So I will need to upgrade Moresby for a shipyard more soon-ish. Lots of little ships to absorb things. Yeah, it looks like this should be. What are they? They are the carrier force. Enemy vessels have just. Yeah, I noticed. I noticed. Which means, once again, sending everybody back to port or away in some capacity. Brisbane should have reasonably decent selection of planes available. No, she doesn't because she never did an upgrade or anything while they were unlocked. So I'm going to need fighters. Plenty of fighters to keep the battleship from getting torn to pieces before it can utilize its superior range to the Kongu. Yeah. The stream on Friday showed that their all-4 gun layout is very nice at long range. I'm going to be relying on that. This is an empty convoy. Enemy fleet destroyed near Duke of York Island, which I think is one of these. Why are you not resupplying? Cannot cut all. The cooldown is 7 days. And when it happens, I will want time order. Convoy Uncle has been lost. Fighters, 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 tons of fighters. But they're not launching any other things. I don't want to have to wait for them to come into range. That should be something like 20. And once they're all in good health again, they will be helping keep them alive. I think there's a decent chance it could. If I didn't see a battle cruiser there, which the AI almost always brings, I would say yes, it absolutely could if it had adequate fighter cover and the carriers were deplaned. With the battle cruiser there, it's a toss up because I can't guarantee I'll win the 1v1, especially not with what looks like 2 heavy cruisers firing in support of the DPM that it can put out. I'm gonna grab these torpedo boats. Do I have any planes sitting in reserve here? No. Do I want any reserves there? No. Do I have any reserves here? No. Ooh. A destroyer. I'll send this up. You are vomiting planes everywhere up there to inflict counter convoy rating while they are convoy rating. I dislike the fact that they can, without too much effort, enter the Coral Sea and just be on Australia's coast by the home ports. Especially with all my convoys forced to be 11 knot ones instead of the 20 knot ones Japan can use. And the fleet destroyed near Timor Sea. Nope, that's over here. Yep. Those are the dive bombers from there. These are going to be feeding the replacements for everything these carriers are tearing open. How are there? No, I want to check Brisbane. How many? Okay, you have not healed those up yet. Your fighters are not healed up even to 1 fighter yet, which is very concerning. Gambia is still well away from her destination. Those are spotters. Everything that I launched at it died. It looks like they have bypassed this cluster of transport ships and are instead desiring to push as deep as possible. No, I want you collecting from Wellington. Just stay away from all the deadly death. I wonder, are they headed to Nemea? That'd be interesting to see. I haven't seen them turn in towards any port that they have decided to attack. And all of these ports are filled with a lot of very valuable building ships. We just lost spot on them. This is very bad. The first fighters are up. Ooh. Okay, did that do something? Did that drop? I think it dropped for a little bit. Yeah, that's the only thing Japan has access to that uses the label of battle cruiser. What does this button do? Oh, it replaces it with yet more undamaged ones instead of the reserve ones that are sitting around healed. Okay, and then there are these two more. Are there even more of them? No. Okay, and I want you all on bomber mission. I want you to go attack this blip on the map that is still launching spotters and looking for targets. I have 4 days till my last illustrious hits the water at what might be their target. It won't be enough to hunt them down, but it should be enough to keep more planes in the air to defend it, especially because its planes should show up on full health. Ooh, like the G-Man is having to chase these down. Enemy is launched on Kiska with some damaged battleships. Yeah, basically everything owned by the United States is getting taken. I'm having to fight tooth and nail to prevent it from happening to Australia. So they are very capable of winning this in the first about year of the war. What is that? A torp sound? I didn't hear a torp sound. A whoosh noise. That might have been somebody at the door doing some stuff. Okay, you guys got found. Kiska has been occupied. Yeah, it's only a matter of time until they show up to Pearl, and Japan and America doesn't have any planes to properly defend it with, and they don't have any ships to properly defend it with. I'm wondering about just sending a torpedo boat or a corvette to each of those, so I can just see what America does. I think I want an entire squadron of those subs to do things. All right, that convoy item definitely got spotted right there. So I wonder, are they going to? They're using their flight decks to launch fighters, but they're not interested in launching airstrikes on too many of the convoys. The bases are doing their kind of fighter skirmish thing. Battleship got overflown by fighters. Fighters that might, upon loading in, decide they want a piece of her and then be re educated in the way of dual purpose gun. Nope, I don't want that. I want to be over here where Bermuda and Richelieu are hanging out. Birds cooked kind of silly in the low poly version. They're real nice when you get up close. Alright, they re entered port. The supporting cruisers after deploying the carrier while the BB gets underway. Oh, that's a lot of planes. What do we have? We have fighters, 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 fighters. Yep. 3 carriers worth of fighters doing fighter things. Wait, are they invading? Is this just kind of general purpose raiding that doesn't actually launch aircraft in a raid? Are they coming for Auckland? Have they decided that that's what they want to do? Are they going to turn north to Nemea at New Caledonia? Are they turning to Fiji? Are they making a run and then going to Fiji? If they're making a run and then going to Fiji, why didn't they head north of through the Hebrides? Yes, I wish we did as well. That's most of what this force is going to go do, is see if it can find any on Johnston as soon as it picks up a cruiser, because there will be it'll probably at least a carrier involved. She's going to go find some better planes to use in the main force, which is currently trying to get close enough to slap this to death. And then I want it to Moresby so I can use it to prevent this carrier force from leaving. Because my first concern is not losing my entire fleet or one of my ports that has ships under construction. My second concern, yeah, it does kind of look like XTRG. Except I have, did he even take Rabaul in that game? I don't remember. But yeah, massive carrier force, too far out of reach, just doing whatever it wants. The question is, do I have enough troops on Fiji? I have 14 motor launches. We'll call that enough. Those are, yep, more fighters doing fighter skirmish things. The PT boats have been destroyed near Kaving, and the G-Man fleet is making its long journey back. It's expected to take only about 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm glad they're not launching much. Supply convoy girls. Oh, they finally did launch attack. Ooh, carrier. Let's get you in. No, Intrepid. That's an American carrier name. Barracudas set you all the dive bombing. Ah, darn. Came out defective. Upgrade the flights and find the Fulmars, cash them out. I'm gonna let those heal, but she should be able to not get instantly deleted if they turn their attention this way. That is an intercept course. I want you delivering to Ellis Island. I want you turning north to Fiji. It looks like this convoy that has a bunch of stuff in it is actually clear to go deliver stuff. Take it to Rabaul. And this convoy that's only there because it's diverted is clear to go to Kaving. Maybe we should do cruise. Yeah, there's not an invasion fleet to attack with cruisers, and there is no skirmishing or attacking this force without getting leveled, but with just cruisers. And the second detail in that is that I don't have enough cruisers to really throw into a raid. I have to scrape them from every force, and then I'd have like 8, and they're all light cruisers. I think Gambia's actually doing pretty good for us on making way to Vala. And then once I have those 3 ships together, they're gonna head off to hopefully find better planes. Pause this. It looks like I have one of you in the air for some reason. Alright, everybody up and see if I can hit them here. Keep track of them. Been spotted near the Gilbert Islands. How many? Okay. I don't think we're gonna have to wait to find out about where that plane is. Walrus. I still have Fulmars here. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let me get that spotter recalled and replaced with the living Fulmars, because it looks like they are going to be necessary. Our fighters went in and are getting killed in the process of sinking, of taking down torpedo bombers. I am very impressed with the Hawker Hurricane's performance in this action, taking an nearly even KD ratio against torpedo bombers. No, dang it. I thought we killed them all. Okay, it looks like this time we did. Do I want to upgrade, just grab the Fulmars temporarily? No, they're so bad. All of these are on target. Enemy vessels, Tasman Sea. It looks like they do want this, and I even diverted plenty of convoys to Wellington. Enemy aircraft, Gilbert Islands. What are they launching this time? Dive bombers. Those are much more concerning. I need these in the air. Eight fighters, 12 torpedo bombers. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Land, Walrus, land. I need you to... Walrus, land. Pause. Swap. Allow launching. Defend this task force. Because she is refusing to defend herself at the moment, even when I tell her to defend herself. With all the stuff around. And I think the fighters, it's raining planes. Okay, I think that survived. And there are more. Yeah. Oh, this is the island I was thinking of. Okay. Formation returns. Supply convoy has been created at Sydney. Alright. I'm going to send you to the southern tip and then to deliver at Kaving. Kaching. That's what that's called. Do you have anything else that's going to complete another Fiji in a semi-reasonable amount of time? And implacable in 30 days. I think Wellington doesn't even have anything at all. Oh, it has subs. It has subs. I'm going to put a couple more subs in there so I have at least something to contest this. They only brought 3 destroyers, which means it's passively it's a passable option to just overwhelm them with a squadron of submarines. You're headed around the horn. So they come straight here to make you take a slightly faster route. So that was about 12, 12, 3. That was 15. That was 3. No, that was 4, 4, 5, 8, about 9 flights, which is, I think that's the complement of a Hiryu class carrier. Are the Hurricanes on land in any better shape? Not at all. Would I want to bring one of these? No. I don't intend to operate against submarines in this area. And I'm waiting for her anyway. Are they headed straight for Auckland or straight for Wellington? I don't think they'll hit Wellington before the subs do. Get ready. Shuchen Island, what do you have? Heavy cruiser, light cruiser. Okay, I guess you guys are taking a detour to go level some cruisers that think they're tough. And in the meantime, actually go to these, set them to torpedo bombers. But set you guys to not trash planes. Yep. Boop, boop. Prepare a couple more fighters. And now, all of my bombers head out. What do I have defending this? 4 cargo ships, so that is kind of urgent. What are you? What are you trying to do? Collect from Wellington? No. Go collect from here. This convoy has been overtaken. It will have it resupplied by the time I need it. And their current course is going to be strike out east. Avoid this, whatever this is. I don't like that. I don't like the look of it. America doesn't like the look of it. That's 2 carrier task forces. Okay, maybe I cancel the operation. Maybe I head around and take some bases in the North Pacific as a joke. But I do want Indefatigable to go somewhere. Right, you guys are ready. Is your invasion ready? Which one of these is further away? Go recon that. Actually, I can set up these, recon it for you, and just bring you to staying in place and then launching so that you are out of range. Okay, I'll bring you forward a couple 100 miles. But yeah, they definitely want Auckland, which is impressive boldness for the AI. And it's clear they've been building, I've seen at least 3 single carrier groups that are operating actively, which means that 29 is going to have to find them in 1v1s and beat them with inferior planes in inferior quantities, which is just kind of a hard day's work for the British campaign. These Fijis can grab their upgrades, and if they take this, I'm just going to build up Moresby, and then I should be able to keep them from running away long enough to bring down the fist of the king upon them. Yep, and there goes all the bombers, and there goes all the cruisers. They no longer exist. Let's put you in here, resupply you. Gambia, get in there. I want some manual scouting to keep these recon, see if anybody happens to be sitting in the port. All of these are using swordfish because I cashed out all their war bonds. Bad news, they're all using swordfish. Good news, that is all swordfish. So when they show up, I have large waves of trash. Ellis Island. 6 submarines. I can prepare planes for that mission. 1, 2, 3. Though it looks like I'm going to have to be operating these ASW flights off of her flight deck. Never thought I'd do that with a fleet carrier. But yeah, the Fulmar is the only ASW capable plane that can launch off a carrier or any plane or any ship. Hey, launch. Can't do it. She's got plenty of fuel for you. Why am I coming all the way to Moresby? Because I want to come deal with this, and because I have fighters. Aha! The Sunderland did find the carrier group, and it looks like it's bringing a battleship, which means we're faster than it by something like 6 or 7 knots, which is going to be very useful for controlling the engagement. She can't quite dock, having some spazzings, and as soon as that Sunderland is dead. Well, that does free up the space on the runway. We start attacking these subs. Yeah, they're jumping in and out of port because they can't quite manage to stay in it. The French is gone. They're in Vichy France. I think they technically own this one, but it wasn't added in the update. America still gets it in all three modes. They do have a cruiser that spawns on the Axis side right here at the start. The cruiser is pretty trash. It's really expensive and is only really a passable light cruiser. Yep, this is another cruiser to merge into forces assembling and staging and whatever. You know what? You're headed down there. Intrepid, Bermuda? Intrepid has your loadout going. Your loadout's pretty good. I'm sending you to Tuvala because it looks like I'm going to need both of you working together to do what you do. The last two illustrious class headed off to go do things far away from home. Did those finally heal? They're not finally healed. They're very much not healed. They brought down one sub. How are you doing? Amphibious assault, and then once you're all done, return to Brome. Yeah, they did. They didn't get added in the patch though. Enemy vessels, South Pacific, what do we have? Oh, they have turned north. It looks like they did a semi-committed raiding run and then have turned north. Are they going to take Nemea, or are they just going to wander off derping until I happen to find them and crush them? Nemea is launching dive bombers, which means she might have upgraded these dive bombers and torpedo bombers, which means, yeah, Richelieu. It's this, where is it? This thing, Richelieu. Given that they're headed up there, I'm going to send her to the, the G fleet right away. And I'm going to have to divert you north near the Solomons on your way there and enable your launching of planes. Anti-sub. Keep doing anti-sub things. These things still need a few days to be ready for service. I don't. Oh, they're not even going to take Nemea. Nemea's like right there. I don't have access to the Dunkirks. I don't get access to the Iowas or anything like that as Australia. So these are actually the best things that the game will give me for carrier escort, and they're even decent contenders in straight up surface action. Fiji's walruses don't have the range. I could build a Sunderland here, but it would take another 5 days to do it, and by the time the Sunderland was ready, those 3 or 4 walruses would be ready at Tuvala to transfer onto the deck for their operations. Ooh, they are ready to transfer onto the deck for their operations. Pause button. There's W bombers. And now start grabbing them in groups and launching. What? Timor. We have launched an enemy amphibious assault on Timor. Cool. 2 PT votes. We have successfully occupied Timor. Does that give me 500 war bonds? Dang it, no it doesn't. That tanker has decided to cut and run. How are the three Colossus doing over here in Singapore? I'm click locked. So how are those three Colossus doing? About 20 days from launching. Very nice. I'm tempted to build some of those because it looks like the AI might actually use submarines just as a way to have planes in the water is basically a base upgrade. They sink and are replenished at a low rate. If I was seeing tens of submarines per month instead of half a dozen every few months, I would probably invest in that and load them up with walruses just to put in this area where the New Hebrides State cruise just doesn't give enough bases to use them without having upgraded single ones. You're still alive and you still don't care. It's time to make them care. Okay. Like the G-Man fleet. Oh, these carriers aren't even going to Noumea, they're going here. That is very bad. Question is, do I run them north to go conquer something? Or do I run them south to try to survive? It's an implacable and two escorts. I think in War in the Pacific Admirals edition, you get at least one of the French battleships in 45, in the late 45. Yeah, I'm thinking running to Pearl is the good call, and I'm gonna make it as soon as I can get these subs killed and swap her loadout back because I don't think that. I wonder if carrying walruses for them would actually. Will they see them in the stock at Pearl? Can I swap? No. We use separate reserves. But if I left them in a place that was going to be that they were going to reconquer for me, that would be nice. But that would require flipping and unflipping and allowing them to reflip, and that's just too much hassle. Especially considering the AI might just instantly sell them. I'm going to follow these in combat view this time. Yeah, at this time she is not finished and has one turret. I think we're within like plus or minus a month of Massachusetts and Hornet going off to sink her in water or too shallow to really sink. That's one down, probably. Enemy fleet destroyed. And as soon as they land, I will swap them over and start the running process. I think these only do 30 knots. This American convoy is probably toast. Operation Ranger Sunker. Yes, not Wasp, Ranger. You're about to close range and launch your planes. We have launched. Yep. Darwin. Port Chapter 43. Okay. I'm just all over the place. Darwin is occupied, which means she should be turning back. Yep. To grab the. Ooh. Not quite yet. And now, swap back all of these. Given that there's going to be a lot of stuff going on near this island, I will leave those there for now. Now I'm going to run straight to Pearl for an initial heading. Pearl should be plenty supplied, and unless something real weird comes up, I'm going to try to grab Johnston. Yes, we finally reached Darwin. What, it's been like 4 or 5 months? If it hadn't chained nicely, I probably would have just left it there as a meme. Because it wasn't, I don't think it was on the objective list. And it was only severely hampering logistics connecting the multiple theaters in which I'm attempting to operate. And Spicy Fleet up next. I think I want to consolidate this, which means an Ambon Kandari raid. The subs are ready, but the war they prepared for is not coming, so I will send them up to Tuvala so that eventually when they get there, it'll be more reinforced. If they take it on the way, they'll be headed to Fiji instead. Carrier's going. I had a carrier going in a silly place now. Yeah, I'm not going to run parallel to what I'm running from. Intrepid, Bermuda, Gambia. You are one of the weaker carriers. I want you to head. Do I want you at Rabaul? Do I want you operating with someone else? What if I head down to Fiji and then commit to operating in the vicinity of Pearl Harbor? I'll run her south to Fiji and then merge into this. So that the two of them with their deep fuel reserves should get somewhere useful. Your fleet, you, the question is, will this fleet crush? Is there anything that Japan will assemble that this fleet can't crush? I think the answer is, I think the answer becomes no at 5 implacables, which is kind of frustrating. Or 5 illustriouses. There, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put 4 on you. Illustrious 2, and I'm gonna have to upgrade to a standard of at least 4 of these. And Victoria and Triumphant, you're getting some. And Victorious will be getting more. 5 CVs, yeah. We'll get getting 4 sets of Barracudas to complement her 1 flight of Wildcats. That is side by side. Oh, the Hawker Hurricane is 7 knots faster. I'm sure that's definitely going to tip the scales. Okay, and also headed that way is the battleship. Will cruise it? Will Aiden be needed in that 1 fleet? I want to assemble a second fleet. So Aiden's just going to arrive at Mosby without anything else. Well, it's technically a third or fourth fleet. This cruiser squadron's about to hit Wall Ocean. I have a sub squadron. Yeah, it's better except for a little bit of speed. And I can't convince them to lend lease me some martlets, which is what the British called it, because they were too insecure to call them superior in every relevant way. Set these to none so I don't have to spend as much logistics on them. Gilberts. 4 destroyers. Tuvala is not impressed. I hope it isn't. Do I have any destroyers escorting this? Hey America, you got any spare destroyers? I don't have any spare little ships here. The carriers are running to because they have bigger fish to fry. But yeah, this one thing this carrier raid did was prevent me from assembling a third fleet that operated kind of on Fiji, Ellis Island, New Guinea line. I have this big task force that is the 4 carriers. I have this one over here that is 3 carriers. I just kind of keep having to keep tossing things in to replace losses and make sure they're strong enough for their increasing missions. I think the third one is actually going to be assembling here out of Colossus class carriers. And I need at least 6 of them to really fight major ports because they need. Ooh, how? Do you guys need any of this? I don't think you do. I think you're already pretty escort heavy on that side of the map. I'm going to take you to Moresby. And I'm going to toss you guys into separate groups and prepare continued expansion of the fleet along with at least a few more destroyers because I am destroyer light on this theater. The G-Man fleet is currently the biggest fleet. Yes, it is. Arrow, do you want to call dibs on the name of the second fleet of the technically fourth fleet that's going to be assembling on the east coast of Australia theater? No one else, I don't think anyone else is here and speaking up about it. It's not a right. Well, I built all those carriers by spamming at the build button as soon as I got the war bonds from a couple take ports being taken. I think the first time I took these two was enough war bonds to build them. There's 3 implacables there. A Richelieu that'll be ready for them. Yeah, it looks like it'll be 3 implacables pretty quickly in about 3 weeks. And that looks like that is the raid. If they if 3 destroyers manage to kill them all, I'm going to have to sell off all the things here, or most of them. I think I might leave a couple of these just as a surprise. Oh, yeah, that's not going to work. I'm gonna. None of these would be valuable to America. Those walruses would probably, and I'm gonna leave that port. Running was definitely the proper call because it's pretty soon gonna be sandwiched between. What? It turned around. I'm confused. I'm confused. They did damage and then destroyed and ran away. I guess I'm going to have to take the G-Man fleet up through truck and force them to reveal exactly how many of these single carrier forces. Um, I was gonna make this a joke about. I was gonna make this one a joke about the West Philippine Sea because communist China makes my insides turn nasty. Scratch that out. Call it West Philippine Sea. But I was thinking the one that's gonna be implacables does need a name. If you want to name the one that's going to be operating here, you can say that one. Okay, this cruiser is not needed because you already have two cruisers. Richelieu, Intrepid Bermuda. Most of the destroyers in this fleet have kicked the bucket. So I'm going to move them like this. .45 at Singapore. CVLs. Make sure these have the right loadout. They're pretty fighter heavy, which is exactly what they need to be because they don't have dual purpose AA guns on themselves. So they need plenty of fighters and escorts to keep themselves alive. And part of that is going to be plenty of V-class destroyers to burn through. Frenchy Goose Fleet. Okay. One of these is, I'll put that, just slap that on Aden. And then merge them into Aden as they arrive. The G-Man fleet is reassembled, repaired, refit, re-equipped, and ready to kick ass. I like that checklist. I'll take it further northeast, get it back around this annoying peninsula area, and it'll either be on its way to go say hi to the people at Truck, or over to see if it can find and destroy the various carrier forces that have set up shop over in this area. I'm partial to focusing this way because that's where this fleet is going to be operating. And then letting America just kind of sit there and get rolled before I steal all their territory. Ooh, it says they have 18 destroyers. What do you have 18 destroyers for? I think that means that the build logic decided it wanted our overwhelming and has been building nothing but destroyers for a while at Puget Sound, which suggests to me it has a lot of capital ships building or about to be built. I can only cross my fingers that they put those orders in before they started spamming the destroyers and not the other way around, so that they'll actually arrive without having to wait another 100 days. But I am very curious to see what this is, because that is a stupid amount of destroyers for any small force. Like this one, this has 6 light escorts, and that's a carrier, and that's 2 capital ships. At that rate, I would expect something like 6 capital ships. They have it, which might be a slow battleship. It might be in North Carolina. They might even jump for the Richelieu. Also, can have one of the French BBs. I think the answer is yes. Do I have one of those in construction? I have a Richelieu at 25. Yeah, 20. She'll be a few days behind, but she is definitely going to be looking for a place to live, and that'll be it. While I have, in order to keep shipyard space open, do I have this? Yeah, one gun, two torpedoes. I'm gonna put one of those in the water so I can have it up to keep looking around at what's going on here. A cheap expendable scout. Enemy fleet archipelago. 4 destroyers. Alright. I will give them orders with permission to launch, then return to Revolve. This convoy. Is this convoy threatened? No, it's not. They're probably going to attack Kaving. Anyone else have the range? Ooh, more destroyers. Destroyers I can destroy. Don't have enough war bonds to upgrade a bunch of them. But I will be swapping out those Barracudas as soon as I get the chance. So because I do need it for projecting power in this area to prevent things like these destroyers from tearing things up. Do I have anything headed here? I don't think I do. There was another carrier sent to join this fleet. She arrived. You guys are just hanging out. Send you forward to Timor. If you see these on the way, pick them up and then go to Timor. Sunderlands don't have relevant range. You're repairing. Kaching, do you have fuel to do anything with? I'm gonna send those to Saigon just to grab a couple of war bonds for objectives. More destroy. Oh, the carriers have come out and to play. I think no. This is a third one. Is this a third one? I think we destroyed. We might no. This is the second one. This is the one that came in and ran away, not the one that came in, fought here, ran away. So I think that these ones are probably out of play for a little bit as they go to get resupplied. The direction they were heading suggests maybe they were transferring back north to Midway. Maybe they're zigzagging around. They probably have plenty of supplies at truck. Given that these are coming from the Gilbert Islands, they probably actually have plenty of supplies at the Gilbert Islands. Because those will have operated at least 4 carriers that I've seen in about the course of a month. Which is quite impressive for that pair of minor ports. I want these in repairs and operating. Good stuff. Here, there. I'm gonna save because it's heating up and I don't want it to drop out or something. That is the intention and the plan. Enemy fleet destroyed Bismarck Archipelago. Those are the bombers, and there's all the fighters. How many? I think, for the sake of surviving, I'm gonna put these cruisers and AA cruisers back into this. I'm gonna take the first group out of Dito's name. Because there is also a Dito second group as the name instead of a class that you can get when you use the other groups. Yeah, that is a lot of zeros. And I'd like to double check. Oh, they all died, so I can't check if those are zeros or the very fancy one that goes really fast. I'm kind of hoping it actually would be that because I can't defeat zeros. But those late warplanes with their immense range and high speed have a high base fuel consumption. It means that if they keep spamming this many out for just a few assets showing up, they could very easily run out. Oh, okay. I should have brought maybe I should have brought some of the anti-subplanes we had. As it stands, I have one plane here that's capable of fighting. It's Vedette. He has depth charges on both sides. No, I don't have only one plane that's capable. I have Walrus. I have Lord Walrus. Anti-sub. Gambia. Gammy, what the heck are you doing? Just launch those with orders to go find something and attack it. Gambia. Gambia, what are you doing? Gambia, stick with your mothership. Um, oh, they found her. Yes, I do. And this walrus is waiting. There we go. Just waiting to get a good spot on her. Ooh, we are not pretty close to Johnston, so I'm going to get close to Johnston and then scout and then scout. No, I'm going to go straight to scouting Johnston so it'll launch as soon as it gets the range. Those destroyers are down. Almost all of those are down. 1, 2, 3. Want these swapped out. Ready. As much as possible to get auto launched on cooldown, which is like a couple days. Alright, it looks like this is going to be 4 Colossuses before I get the chance. Unless a bunch of ships start sinking real quick, that's not going to be too many Colossuses. The G-Man fleet finally has its own fighter hordes. 3 submersibles. I'm not immediately concerned about them. It looks like there's a decent chance they'll flip one of these bases. But an even better chance that they won't be able to hold it without getting sunk themselves. So I'm hoping they don't understand in its logic that most of these don't have functioning airfields, so they're not a threat until they have waited a few months. Pearl Harbor spotters with nice long range. Send some fighters over to the target area to get a good spot on Johnston. They have nothing defending it, which means I want it. I want it now. Gimme. Johnston scouted. That's all the fighters streaming back. Vessels have been spotted near Parawan and the Gilberts. Yep, there's 4 carriers here. I'm hoping they don't merge. It looks like they're sending this group up north towards Pearl. Has this fleet here added anything to its rank yet? No. I don't think the AI understands how to use build logic to assemble any large fleets using multiple home ports. So it'll have to build whatever capital ships and cruisers it wanted for this alongside, right next to it, in just the limited to 6 slots. Okay. The G-Man fleet is launching fighters in the AI fighter skirmishes. How are the range of the strike Barracudas? Barracudas are too far away. They're headed south, so I want to bring you here. That's weird. It's not painting the route properly. So, there. Okay. It is lit up to set an intercept course to the south. If we allow them to force us to go in merry-go-rounds, our only anti-aircraft defense will be the Benny Hill theme, as they just pelt their entire deck loads at us and then just disengage on their own terms. With this, I should be able to force them into Barracuda range. And over here, nothing's happening. Over at Johnston, bombers are launching. Even ASW bombers are launching with depth charges because I forgot to turn them back. Coastal defenses at Johnston. Good. Do the damages, please. Take it. And then dock there to see if there are any American planes to take off. Given that I get a separate reserve, I think I might store my war prizes at Pearl if there are ones that I don't want to keep deck space on the active carrier for. Okay, they keep getting closer. Their raid is launching. How are they with range on the Barracudas? Still too far away. Those destroyers are. I'm pretty sure they have us hard spotted by the planes in the air. They might not actually, because I own all these bases here. They have not yet attacked the docked ships. We have launched our amphibious assault. I want to come see what's up here. Yeah, I'm really hoping that some. I would love to see that they took a carrier here as soon as they unlocked a Helldiver or an Avenger and just dumped all the old Dauntlesses or all the old Wildcats. Because if they did it at this base, there's going to be entire carrier loads filled with planes that are vastly superior to anything else I can ever get. This is a this is a very entertaining dynamic. It's forced by the lack of lend-lease, and maybe not as engaging as some system by which you can earn lend-lease. This game is, yeah, the Devastator's pretty meh. I'm pretty sure the Barracuda is better. Yeah, the Devastator is the only thing worse. Given that the Helldiver carries a torpedo, they might have replaced their Avengers with Helldivers upon receiving, which would be a massive waste of war bonds. But if they just kind of let them sit there, they'll be real nice. I have seen one on a previous campaign where Johnston just had a bunch of Kingfishers late in the game, which might have been ones that were there to replace losses. It was only like 4 or 5 actually, so I'm not certain that the AI will leave them here for me. Okay, everybody is slowly showing up to land. They're taking much less losses than they would if I let the map do this. Do they even know where to land? They seem to be confused on exactly which side is a viable landing spot. Oh, they're clipping out, which means they're landing. One more, and we get to see what we earned. What's in the box? It's like one of those completely ethical surprise mechanics. Pause. There are now PT boats here. I'll grab those PT boats for a couple free war bonds. Put the war bonds that just came into existence into a 5th Colossus. The enemy has launched their assault on Madang, which means I need these cargo ships to pull back and hopefully not get flattened, because they have basically enough to resupply after a whole major battle for any task force. Demand fleet. If I take you straight to attack, will you turn north? Nope, they've gone south enough that they now understand they want to go through this channel. Fighters are doing all their fighter things everywhere. Spicy is on its way to Timor. Is she docked yet? Not yet. She does need a couple of aircraft repairs done. I do not know why these walruses were up there with ASW ordnance, but I like the thought. Dito and Phoebe are AA cruisers. Madang has been taken back, and I think these dive bombers, the next wave of dive bombers is definitely going to make these not exist. Unless the fighter hordes doing their fighter horde things protect them. Yep. Long Island? I thought we were fighting in the Pacific. Oh, this Long Island. What is it called? Wait, what's this one? Wetar Island. Ordered to or to move to water. This carrier turned back. I think that carrier was sent here. Saw it was flipped and decided it didn't want to just crush me. Which is fine by me. Enemy fleet destroyed at Johnston. Those are the PT boats. Now she should be turning to resupply and check the spoils of war. Ooh, I can check. Oh, oh. It looks like there was not anything waiting at Johnston. Alternative good news. I also have. I can also go grab Midway. If there's nothing at Midway, then I think I will have just prevented the U.S. from capturing anything ever because it's mega derp. There are also these Aleutian Islands. I might go to the Aleutians. Does it give me the objective to take the ensure the solution all the Aleutians are secured? It does not. Interesting. Bomber is that the bombers launching finally? Oop, it just dropped framed. I think they launched. They are in the air. The bombers are in the air. The Leica G-Man fleet is under attack, but fortunately, it's covered in way too many anti-aircraft guns. So Victorious took a hit, and then they snapped. Richelieu has her AA guns firing. This will turn her AA secondaries. She is the like 1944 or something refit pattern where they took the Richelieu class battleship John Bart and covered it in all the AA guns. What are these? These are zeros. They're not interested in making another attack. Maybe if I dock, it'll do something cool, but I doubt it. And I'm gonna head to Pearl because Pearl actually has supplies. Victorious took another hit. Another one like that, and I'll have to separate her into a second task force. It's raining Japanese planes. That's good. Everything that gets popped over the fleet is one that the fighters don't have to kill or get killed trying to kill on the map view. Zeros in the distance. Bombers are returning. Most of the dive bombers are making it back. One of the carriers is already down. One of them is already dead. They are heading back are those fighters and fighters and fighters, and that's not a lot of bombers. I'm wondering how many planes were brought down in the initial skirmish, because they launched the first strikes. They should have showed up freshly healed and replenished. They haven't replenished their escorts. Don't lose one of your CVs. I don't think that. I have a feeling that won't be a problem. I'd be more worried about the inevitable, having something happen to her. Because she's right next to the invincible and the inconceivable, and about to go into another dangerous combat zone. Implacable. So while you're looking at your CV, let's look at what will probably be the flagship of the new force, as it is waiting for its buddies in port. Um, Wait, let's rewind a little bit. Now let's look at that ship. Here we are. Bigger, stronger, faster, implacable. With more planes, all of which are still Barracuda, a mixture of Barracudas and Hurricanes. I think that's as many or more 4.5-inch guns. And right now she is waiting a few days. How do I want to send How an independent force? No, she's not going to wait a few days. She's going to grab these cruisers and head out to the staging area at Port Moresby. Who's here? A destroyer. Vivacious. I need destroyers at the staging area at Port Moresby. And the Implacables over here. The Colossuses are slowly building up to the required number. Merge those cruisers. Here we are. The dive bombers are launching in loose clumps. The fighters are in the air and holding their own against Zeros, which means that it hasn't upgraded most of these to their late war super expensive fighter, which has, I think it's actually dogfight strength 4 and real good speed. It's the answer you have as Japan if you don't want to let your fighters be outclassed by the Hellcats and Corsairs that America gets. All carriers are down. Scratch 3 flat tops. And how long? Oh, we need to rescout this. I think Triumph. Does anyone have any spare planes to do it? Wow, illustrious. Who was that? Formidable Victorious is very low on fighters. Very low on planes. All the fighters went down. But we can magically retrieve extra Grumman Wildcats to replace that flight that got shot up. That's her headed on her way. Shipyard. 3 more Implacables are going to be forming into that force soon. Richelieus are headed there. Depending on how the Operation Spicy goes, Howe might end up transferring all the way over to Singapore because the carriers there are in need of heavy escort. You keep saying your BB. That's kind of confusing. I was talking about this one, but if you want that one specifically, I think that could probably be arranged. What did she shoot down? She shot down one plane. Yep. Well, they're going to be operating pretty close to each other. I have imagined that French and Goose Fleet is going to be relieving G-Man in the truck operation. Or I might send them, or I might just refill replenish their planes and send them straight at Tarawa, right next to each other, because they should be um, arriving, both be ready to leave the staging area at Moresby at about the same time, and then that's 2 big fleets competing to see who gets kill credit on 4 aircraft carriers. All right, are you actually moving? It's kind of up for grabs, but it says, yep. If I was more certain of the outcome, I would let them close to let Richelieu sink these, but I don't think that's a safe idea. There are PT boats here, and then Madang to re-raid, re-recon, and then re-invade. And as soon as Madang is flipped, I might just leave a cruiser with a. Yeah, I think I'm going to just kick Sydney out and send Sydney to Lee or Lay, because from Lay, as long as this is flattened and scouted, she could just pick it up on timer while the rest of the G-Man fleet returns to get all their aviation fuel and planes. Ooh, do I want to do that at Rabal to get it done faster? Come on, I'll wait a minute to pick them up because they have the orders they need. This is 47. Ooh, those destroyers are headed places. Places I'm not eager to let them go. One fighter from truck is coming here to land. Wait. Oh, this is a fighter probably from the carrier sent to scout. It would be a 0 because it has the range, and then its mothership was destroyed. And the canal has also walrus. 48 at Wellington. That I think is the Corvette. And I'm gonna send her all the way up to Johnston so I can have just a presence to keep vision where I think I need it and the US isn't getting it. Oh, some of the destroyers by Japan did enter the convoy routes. And they probably took, even if they didn't take any damage, I'm expecting that they didn't find anything before they were forced to return to base. Okay, I was going to. Enemy fleet destroyed here. That is. Yep, the things. The carriers were able to destroy Convoy Peter. Or save Convoy Peter. And up at Johnston, I was going to let these finish repairing. And then either head to Pearl for resupply. Yeah, the aviation fuel is good, but the fuel itself is real low. So implacable headed north. Shipyard here. You guys finally. No, you didn't arrive. Why are you going so slow? I think that means somebody is low on morale. You're filled. Oh, you're not filled. Your morale inevitable is. I think renaming her from hope to something so grim was a bad idea. Even on morale mode, she's struggling. Everyone on morale mode, make sure everybody can go their nice fast speed. The V class is either over the hump or under the hump, and they're being Debbie Downers about everything, being on minimum morale. They're getting their fuel out of Magic. They don't have to ship it directly from Sakhalin. They don't actually, and Palembang isn't a port. There's no ports on Java or Sumatra. I tried to fix that in a mod I was working on by making this a technically a home port and just giving it no shipyards so it couldn't build capital ships, so that it would actually provide resources. It's kind of a one way to do it so that things actually make resources. It'll be a lot more dynamic if adding a port in any place with any parameters becomes possible. Yep. And Intrepid, give me some planes. Go scout this. And then once you've done that, head here. Or those planes are launching. These planes are. I'm going to take you to Pearl just to see what happens. See if anything happens to be sitting there that America's scouting system isn't reporting. Yeah. They would be getting it from the Dutch East Indies because I think that there's enough oil fields in here and the Philippines. But in game, the only place that generates resources is home ports, which means Sasebo knocks everything on Japan, Honshu and Kyushu except for Shimokishima is engaged in coastal defenses. It is scouted and it should be leveled. And now I'm going to take him to Rabal. Oh, I'm going to attack Rabal and then Rabal. Rabal has some repairs. It has probably enough aviation fuel. It's about to get everything you could ever want. And there are 3 submersibles here. 3 submersibles I'd rather not have there. Did you guys finish building the ships? Why is TF-42 going so slow? Feels like they're going slow. Sydney, did you have another Richelieu? 12 days to the other set of implacables, and then more days to get them actually where they need to go. Enemy vessels, Solomon Islands. Destroyers. Um, Without the upgrades to them, these are kind of difficult to keep in the fight. Like a G-Man destroy the cruiser. This cruiser is here so she can finish the invasion of Madang in 3 days. I want you to raid. Your DD's not enclosed. Oh, why are they out there? Because if you put way too many things in one squadron within a task force, it can congest the formation logic. A few patches ago, they made it looser so that it wasn't like paralytic confusion that was as effective as destroy at preventing a fleet from moving. It's basically cutting its spinal cord at the neck. It would be that hard to move it and turn it and let it do anything. But as it stands, taking the least useful ships out of there will make sure that you have more of what you need to protect your important ships next to the important ships. And it makes it easier to drop fewer frames while assigning a little screening force, which can be very good if you need to tear up massive waves and you want a complex layered defense. On that vein, if I knew I was going to be taking a bunch of air attack at them, I would have Dido and Phoebe, maybe even Bermuda, in the in Baker Squadron with the V class, descend at the source of planes and chew them up as they were flying overhead. It's only most important when you have a. It's the wrong. What? For what? Um, I'm confused about these labels, but Dido, yeah. Dido's guns have a range to. Ooh, her main ones have a range to hit them while they're flying at dive bomber's altitude. So any flight but that has to fly over them is going to lose planes, and that will be extremely valuable at reducing them. Why is Phoebe say? Um. Oh, it had Richelieu's stat card still up, and I didn't notice. I noticed I was very confused. Yep, I figured out that about 1/8 of a second before your message finally popped through the stream delay to you and ping delay to me. What do I have? I have 6 hours and 225. Good. And ASW planes. Are you landed yet? These subs are only 3 subs. Sunderland. You have bombers available. I need to divert some cruisers there. Hong Kong, Cyprus, Gibraltar. You are going to be stationed at Tulagi to repel more of these destroyer spam raids, just in case. Walrus bomber, go do your attack. Is your invasion off cooldown? 1 day. What's going on over here? You guys are headed to Pearl to see where all the American ships aren't. There's spotters flying near you, and you're having a decent time. I have 2 Hong Kongs. I have one system, one country, two systems within a country that is the extra system. More ships by Solomon's, 5 destroyers. 2 Hong Kongs. Well, we can't have that. That's. It's not a British place, but it's close enough. I'm not deathly afraid of this stream being blocked in China. There. I'll put them in the forest with implacable. How the expert Richelieus 9 days and then a couple more days. Huh. Will they need this fuel here? Or do I want to stage them out of Tulagi? Those destroyers are trying to break into the convoy routes. I want all these Sunderlands on ASW because almost everything can delete destroyers. Almost nothing can delete subs. But everything that deletes subs does a good job. And we're back. An engaged enemy coastal defenses at Ambon. Raid. Yep. Subs things and destroyers that are taking only light losses as they bypass these barely repaired forts. Duval is just kind of sitting there because they've never managed to gobble it up. They've never bothered, I think, is the real thing. Walrus, let me get my Sunderland's ready and bomb loaded, and I will send it as a spotter, basically. Actually, send it to Macon. It should overfly these carriers, but it might not trigger their aggro properly. And I'm not going to be able to do the next operational steps in this stream. It'll probably be tomorrow or later. One thing to note in I need to consider in the planning is should Richelieu head with this carrier force or wait for the group that's assembling and is going to be mostly made out of these three implacables. You're headed here. This fleet. Does this fleet need... No, it's full on aviation fuel. These destroyers are heading in. Send them to attack. Yeah, Lancaster. The closest you get is the flying boat. What? Enemy aircraft banned to sea. Bombers load in before they snipe something. Alright, this is everybody here. I think I know who they're after. The fleet appears to be back at good speed. Those are AA guns going off. Planes falling out of the sky, but no bombs or torpedoes falling out of the sky with them. Which is very good. All the fighters scrambled and are now in the air. Some torpedo boats have gotten into their heads that they can catch and kill them. The fleet needs a BB. I think I have. He is on the way. How? I'll redirect him to Rabal. He's a bit slower and has a bit more in the way of guns of all types. Plus, she actually gets her spotters. The French ship did come with planes, but the planes weren't added and they didn't add the catapult yet. Torpedo bombers, hordes of fighters. I don't think this is going to go well for the enemy. Unless the fighters all turn back immediately instead of actually defending the carrier. There. They're about to reach where Kandari is. I'm going to send 3 of these fighters back over the shoulder. Make sure Ambon is scouted. Looks like they're waiting on 1 Colossus, 2 Colossuses before they head out. And I should have just built the Dito instead. Over here, they're about to launch their strikes. Looks like they're turning for air operations. Ambon is scouted. How are you? I'll just grab Madang and then have this cruiser stationed at Madang. Those destroyers are there. We're successfully occupied Madang. Sydney, just hang out there. You're about to attack. Oh, the French used male pronouns. I did not know that. I mean, I know plenty of ships used male names of dudes anyway. Okay. 2 cruisers that are headed the wrong way because the destroyers are intent on looking for convoys next to major ports armed with flying boats. Do I want to have you there yet? Or do I want to... It needs a BB. How is going to take a while. And they're going to be relieving each other. I think I'm going to have Howe stick with the Goosey fleet on its first mission. Have Richelieu with the G fleet G-Man fleet on its next mission. Because wherever it goes, either here or here, it's going to be headed back through the same place by which the French fleet is going to be leaving. And they'll probably come within a few hundred miles of each other and just trade out BBs. I don't expect the BBs to be taking too much damage or consuming too much ammo. This carrier is closing to the super short range. This carrier is still on her way to pick up fuel and then head further north. I'm kind of disappointed that the flight deck size that's there is so small, because if it was two, if it had happened to be two instead, or maybe it was an implacable, or definitely if it was an American carrier, I would take this one and try to do the Mizuru snipe exclusively to see how the AI would react. They have come to take Johnston back, and I don't have the ability to say no to that. But I can claim that it slowed down their operations and meant that carrier isn't currently closing on a Pearl Harbor with no ships defending it. Mm-hmm. Spicy is hitting. If her planes are able to hit hard enough, there's a good chance that she'll be able to stay on station for the week it'll take to invade these both. And once these two are invaded, I can open up these to priority again. Actually, I can open up these to priority now. Because by the time a convoy gets here, it will be safe. You're headed straight to Moresby. I think you should be the first convoy to travel through the Bind to Sea safely. Okay. I'm going to have to be wrapping this up. I'll probably give at least a 10-minute heads up in the Discord. I'll aim for something bigger. I cannot figure out solidly what my schedule will be tomorrow, but it sounds like you two are pretty into it, so it'd be kind of disrespectful to jump it on you with absolutely no heads up. And destroyer is deleted. Solomon Sea is semi-safe again. Cruisers carrier is headed in. Join with, what's this cruiser? Aiden. That's holding the name for them. This is a destroyer. 5 days till those. And if you want to come, if anyone wants to come with names for the implacables other than me opening the dictionary back up and just finding the first few I words that sound like carrier names, do that. Open these up just in case they get jumped. Just and put all the escorts in there and all the cruisers directly with the carriers, all the AA destroyers in a screen. The circle formation isn't actually that practical for its purpose as a screen, but I don't bother using the other ones because it spreads them out a bunch, and I don't actually use them as screens super frequently. We do get the Dutch ships. Well, we get the Dutch submarines, a squadron of which is actually on its way to Ellis Island, and these are actually good contenders for the best submarines available to the Dutch, to the Australian, the Royal Navy Australian. There's the Not America, because they are a bit faster than all the competing British submarines. They're also only 60 war bonds. They have less range, but the biggest deal is that they have 10 torpedoes, 6 front, 4 aft, which is something none of the other British submarines get. Because I think none of the submarines, or only a class I can't remember, gets any reloads. The only The Henry the Fourth. Is that the French cruiser from World of Warships? What is Henry the Fourth? Baron. Invictus Baron. Henry the Fourth. That's a name. French battleship Henri the Fourth. Okay, I'll leave that tab open. And as soon as I think I'm gonna call it as soon as they launch because there's nothing else super engaged. They're taking Johnston. We have arrived, and we have arrived at Pearl, but we can only get that through this menu. We don't appear otherwise, and we'll see that we can't get American planes, and they haven't left any for us. French cruiser. Okay. All right. I think that's as good as a stopping point as I'm going to be able to get, and other stuff, loud stuff, needs to go on here. So I will talk to you guys later. Game save, bridge, and YouTube end stream button. End stream button.